Okay, we left off Yud Gimel, page 235, Mechaber. Okay, just go over the Mechaber again. We didn't do the Mishna Berura on this. Chazozis ukemo ababuos. What is chazozis? It's like a pimple. Ababuos. V'yesh bo mamosh, and it has texture to it. It's not just a discoloration. Shemekomo nikar b'mishush, that its location is noticeable by touching it. When you touch it, shu gavo me'esrog. It's something which is on top of the skin of the esrog. It's something which is attached to the skin of the esrog. I mean, if you run your finger over it, actually, it's rough. It's not part of the. It doesn't have the smoothest of the esrog. That means it's something attached. Therefore, in German they call it mul, because it's not above, even though, meaning it's part of the contour of the esrog. If you run your finger over it smoothly, it's part of the contour, although it's a bump. Others say because that's the way they grow. The esrogim. We see that the species that grow in a certain location, they grow, the Gemara says in Shabbos, Abraisa, there's an esrog, it's called esrog hakushi. Ethiopian esrog. What's called kushi? It's black. Not that it grows in Ethiopia. It's puzzle. It's a black esrog, even though that's the way they grow. This species, but the fact, being black is considered, that's lacking in hodor. It's an esrog, but it's a min. It's a species for whatever reason. It's black. So even though they're regilim, so what? You can talk in Ethiopia because they use a black esrog. No, Hal Selassie, right? Lion of Judah. What do you use? Okay. The regilim, because he says, because they're used to seeing that. Okay, let's see Mishna Berura. Ababuos, yesh omrim davke shtei ababuos. He says you have to have two of these scabs. The lulav hoche ina klal chazozis. Avo rabbi machrum cholkem al zeh. V'daitem da babu achas. That even if you have one of them. Kol shenirel cholodom la'ayin below estaglus mikri chazozis. Anything which is noticeable without really gazing upon it, that's a chazozis. Kosa poskin davke shenol chazozis mi'atzmus ho'esrog. He says the chazos is something which actually grew on the esrog itself. Very often, if the esrog becomes pierced, it's like you have a potato. You peel a potato, it turns red, it oxidizes, right? So sometimes you have an esrog, if it gets punctured, it's not choser, you'll get like a reddish blotch on it. It's also oxidation. It starts decaying. So the beginning, they get pierced with the thorns on the tree. It's kosher. Kosher. According to this, even if you have this chazozes on the nodule, because that's the way they grow, it's not considered unusual. That is the appearance. He says you should not rely on what the Ramos says, that something which is above it's not part of the texture of the esrog, you should not accept this. Only if you have no choice. Let's see Mishna Berura, what's ababuos? It's not something which attached itself. It's something which grew on the esrog itself. He said it happens that if the esrog grows among thorns, that's where the scab grows. He says the reason why the scab grows, it's indication that the fruit is actually decaying. It's decaying. Hein betolo shem chubra. Per Gimel de Sukim Kain Derchu b'Mokshe Shochiv Al Kotzim, but Lo Shol Shamav. You're already saying very often, if a fruit when it grows on the tree, it's exposed to the air on all sides. So because it's exposed to the air, it remains healthy. What about it lies on something and it's denied the air doesn't circulate there? So even though on the tree it starts rotting, that causes this. It's like a fungus. The fungus causes this growth to grow on the esrog itself. Shemisapi shavenola shem chazozis umizen mari aguda avo mashenase okum va'odom. They equals v'kotzim, but if it becomes pierced as a result of it's pierced by a thorn, and therefore there's some level of discoloration. Aim ze ipush. That's not considered the esrog is rotting. L'chein ein ze chazozis kosher ant kadvorov. Good. Next halacha. Im also b'chazozis binyin sheposul. We had it earlier. The scab, if it becomes the majority of the esrog, it's posul. We're not talking about the nodule, correct? Or it's in 2-3 locations. Also, it's posul, even though it's not the majority. Because that we said before, it's spotted. It looks spotted. Oshu menumer im kishakol for choz lemare ho esrog. Let's say you're able to peel it off. You peel off the scab without cutting into the esrog itself, right? You peel it, and once you peel it, it has the color of the esrog under the scab, kosher. He makes the point. It's after when you peel it, there's nothing, the esrog hasn't been compromised, the actual esrog itself. It was growing on it. It's like a fungus grows on something. It attaches itself. No. Sometimes you have fungus attaches itself. You're able to peel it off. And we said earlier, if you remember, even if you peel off the glaze of the whole esrog, the esrog is kosher. Because that's not the meat of the esrog. It's not even the rind of the esrog. It's like a glaze on the outer part of the esrog. You peel that off, so good. So you peel it off, and when you peel it off, the chazozas, and underneath it looks like a regular. The color. Correct. No. It's no worse than if you peel off the whole esrog. Let's you just peel off the outer glaze. We said earlier, the Mechaber says it's kosher. It's valid. Okay. Let's see you dalit. Binyan sheposul. Ben sheberubo b'miuto b'kam mekomos kolaf kol mekomos apsulim kosher. Afil lechatchilo yesh lachshir al dekach. If you peel it off, and one doesn't compromise the esrog itself, it's lechatchilo. V'lo chosek klum. So Ramos says, and when you peeled it, you didn't actually cut into the esrog itself. The esrog is fully intact. Hainush l'kolaf mena rak klipa chitzon adak. That's what he says. Only off the outer glaze. It's like the veneer on the outer part of the esrog. Dimchise mena mashu afilu rak mokamechod. If we said earlier, if you actually diminish it and take even a minuscule amount of the esrog out, it's possible. There rishon leil siv beis. I'll come sim tofresh mtes sifei bagob. Mashik established a Mishna Berura Succos lamed ches. Visually, you see it. I told sometimes you can't. The only time the magnifying glass comes into play is at that time. Is it punctured, or something was actually picked out? That's always the question. And most times you can't tell, even though the extra Excel tells you it's okay, not a problem, right? Lori said, as beside the esrog vendors, they used to say that from Rosh Hashanah until Hanukkah, we're postulators. We're not qualified to be witnesses. Because, they rationalize, they sell things which are really, it's not valid. So, they're overcharging people, this and that. So how do they live with their conscience? It's not simple. It's no worse than a stockbroker. He has to sell it. He convinces the buyer it's the best buyer of the week, right? But in good conscience, it's misleading. How do you tell a person something you yourself don't know? It's also money. No, here it's monetary plus. The esrog is monetary plus. Brocha levatolo, everything under the sun. Okay? Nofal olav mayim betodush. Vetofach osorach. Let's say water comes on the esrog after it's been picked, and as a result of that, it swells. Osorach, or starts becoming rotten, starts rotting because of it. Oshu kovush b'chometz. What a person did. He wanted to preserve it. He puts it into vinegar. Esrog, pickled esrog. Okay. O mavushel, he cooks the esrog. O menumer, or it's spotted puzzle. Because it's not the texture. Once it's been cooked, it's not the texture of the esrog. It's interesting. What about if the esrog is still firm after you take it out of the vinegar? When it says it's kovish means it's been marinated in the. It's not. It falls in the vinegar. You take it out of the vinegar. We're talking about that. It's been soaking that it's become marinated. It's the same as cooking. Kovish b'chometz hainu debzeh afilu sho elo kedei she'asich harikim b'hushol. That's the halacha. That if the halacha is that if it sits in the vinegar long enough, the equivalent that if you put a pot on the fire and it would start cooking, how long does it, you put a pot of water on fire, how long does it take to cook? 10, 15 minutes. It starts bubbling. So if you soak it in the vinegar for that period of time, the vinegar already has affected what's soaking in the vinegar. We say kovish kimbushel, you soak something in water for 24 hours. Udvash meisleis kaimel dav kimbushel. O menumer yeshom davko menumer begavon psulim. When we say when it's spotted, it has to be spots which are colors which are not the natural color of the esrog. Go chazozo shocher olova no yoro kis beasode. Shkosel kamisif dezayin yishomim menumer meharbi maros ksheros. Gamken al koponim enu b'chlal hoder uposul. Jose mishum deinu hoder. Every one of these cases, it's lacking hoder. Maish what yes ben menumer. See, saying pshat. Meaning we said if it has 2 or 3 spots and it's a color which is the color of esrog, it's not a problem. Although it's not uniform on the esrog itself. What about it's spotted all over? Although let's say you have a esrog, you have brown spots all over the esrog. Although the esrog when it starts becoming overly ripe, it starts turning brown. If it's 2 or 3 spots, it's not a problem. But if it's really covered with these spots, that's called a spotted esrog. It's possible. Even though it's not black or white, which is not the natural color of the esrog. Okay?
Isn't it the case that it's 3 spots invalidated?
It's that there, those spots were black or white. It's not the natural color of an esrog. Gold, it's green, gold, these are all the natural colors. That's not called spotted. But here, if it's overly spotted, that's called spotted. That's what he's saying.
Even with those.
Even with the color, which is the color. But it's since there's such a contrast, that detracts from its hodor, from its beauty. Mekom she'esrogim shalahem ke'ein shchoros ma'at. Yeah, they have a slight black color. Yeah, ksherim. V'mhoyu shchorim biyoser kodem kuchi. Not 6:30 yet. He says, what about if it's black as a black man? Right? Harei posel chol mokom. Under no circumstance. It has a dark tinge, slight, it's kosher. But if it's black as a black man, then it's posel. Now, it's not simple. What's a black man? You know? Till recently, maybe 15 years ago in America, the real black man, we didn't have real black men here, because they were intermingled with, they had white blood in them. Then they started coming from Trinidad and that. Black is black. You know, as you say, Shvatzi Koil. Black is cold. That's literal. That's what black is. So we're speaking about the esrog. I'm serious. So in the time of what the Gemara, when they said black, black was black. An African was black, right? It wasn't a mulatto, but the fact it's brown. So it's about something. When you say if it's slightly black, it's kosher. So what is that? Is that a brown? There's a question in la halacha. No, seriously. There's a halacha by if a woman finds a stain on her undergarments. The question is it blood or not blood? Whether she's a nida. What are some of the colors which occasions blood? So if it's, let's say, yellow or gold, these colors are valid colors. It's not a problem. What about if it's black? Black, the Gemara says, is considered, when blood is diseased, diseased blood is black. Black is blood. So now there's a whole question in halacha. What about brown? What about brown? Is brown black or is brown not black? So there's the whole question in poskim. If you have coffee, is it coffee with milk or is it black coffee? Coffee without milk. Because coffee without milk, dark, it has a semblance of black. Or do we say, no, that's called brown? And there's an argument. Exactly, halacha is the woman, if the blotch is large enough, is she considered a nida? That she's off limits to her husband at that time. We have a chosn, I'm starting to give him a little orientation on this, right? But it's discussed. So I'm serious. So regarding the esrog, we say if it's slightly black, it's kosher. But if it's black like the black man, then it's possible. The question is, what is a black man? Okay? Not simple. You know, the Mishnah says in Brachos that when you see something unusual, you say a bracha b'shana brios. It's a Mishnah in Brachos. B'shana brios. God created unusual creatures. So one of the examples that the Mechaber says, if you see an elephant, how often do you see an elephant? Right? Dogs you see. Right? Many kinds of dogs. But if an elephant, we see a monkey. A monkey is not something people would usually see. You say a bracha b'shana brios. You see a... Whatever it is. We usually, these brachas we say without a shem malchus. Sometimes if you see a midget on the street, a midget or a dwarf, you take it aback. It's an unusual person. You say a bracha b'shana brios on that. So very often sometimes you say without shem malchus. You say bracha b'shana brios. That's what you say when you see such a thing. So one of the things the Mechaber says, if you see a kushi, in Europe, how often did they see black men? They didn't see it very often. So the Mechaber says, it's a Mishnah, it's a Mishnah Brachos. If you see a kushi, say Mishna Berura Succos, because it's a creation which you're taken aback. It's not something you usually see. So you say Mishna Berura Succos. So what is a black man? A person is dark-skinned or a black man? How black does he have to be? You know, there's a shayla halacha. If you see, the halacha is if you see a king, you say a bracha. When you see a monarch, a king. Why? Because a king has the power, life and death is in the hand of a king. Right? Because God shares his power with the king. So there's a whole question on halacha. What about today? Queen of England. They don't have the power to put a person to death. There was a whole question many years ago when Khrushchev and Brezhnev came to America. If you saw him, did you say a bracha? Because they had blood on their hand, these people. You know, to send people off to death means nothing to them. But let's say the King of England and the Queen of England. Not, what do we say? That since they could pardon, so a person, let's say, is condemned to die, and they could pardon the person. So they do have an impact whether you live or die. Pardoning. Today, we don't have the death penalty any longer, right? It's just a question of life imprisonment. And let's say that, so then you wouldn't say the bracha. What? I know certain states have the death penalty. States, okay? So if you see a mama, do you have to say a bracha? You say Mishna Berura, you say Mishna Berura. Okay.